Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday. It is September 17th, 2012, and I will call this meeting of the Norfolk City Council to order. This is an open meeting. Posted in the northwest corner of this room is the actual Open Meeting Act. I would ask if you would stand with us, join us for a moment of silence, and as well the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll continue with roll call.
Coy.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
Clausen.
Here.
Murin.
Here.
Brenneman.
Here.
House.
Here.
Saunders.
Here. Okay, and under action, I would request a motion to approve the consent agenda as provided you.
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
A motion with a second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
As well, approval of the full agenda as provided you.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second to approve the full agenda. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay, we'll jump right to special presentations. I will look to Dennis to give us the update on 25th Street.
We're continuing to make progress on 25th Street. They poured the northbound lanes of 25th Street from Prospect North to Hardison today. Gets us down to, for northbound, we've got a piece north of the bridge left that we have to pour there. Would expect they'll probably pour the southbound lanes from Hardison to Prospect sometime next week. Rutchins was moving in, mobilizing today to start the water main repairs for the water main we broke, and hopefully that gets done in the next week or so, and they can move forward with completion of the stuff in the park. The good news was we were able to get an extension from the Park Service so that we got a little more time to get in there and get out. So we are making progress and continue to move forward. Answer any questions you might have.
Council, any questions at all for? Okay, all right.
Thank you.
You bet. And at Mr. Smith's request, he is asking us to take a look at item number 26 of the agenda. Is that right, Dennis?
Correct.
Which is consideration to approve ordinance number 5228, repealing ordinance number 5220, which created paving district number 503 for the paving of Washington Avenue from approximately 260 feet west of First Street, approximately 1,155 feet to 4th Street. We have Dennis here with us, who needs to sneak out here shortly. So again, I'm asking for consideration to approve ordinance number 5228.
I'll introduce ordinance number 5228.
Second.
Okay. With that, Dennis?
This was a remonstrable project, and we had about 80% of the front footage signed letters or petitions that they did not want the street to be paved, so that would necessitate repeal of the previous ordinance. Gives us a good record keeping folks looking back, see the creation of the district. If you don't repeal it, then it's kind of hanging out there and folks wonder what happened 10, 15 years down the road. So would recommend approval on 3 readings.
Okay. Is there any questions from this council at all?
Just one question, Dennis. The ones that, opted against it that way, is that public record then that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically everybody. There's 2 properties that are owned by either owned by Alter or rented by Alter, and then one other homeowner that we didn't get a remonstrance from. So
okay.
Everybody on the north side remonstrated, and everybody on the south side except those 3 properties that I listed. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions at all, council? If not, then, short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to repeal ordinance number 5220, creating paving district number 503, as considered by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Norfolk on September 4, 2012, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5228 carries on first reading.
Just as a follow-up to Councilman Lange's question there, if you look in the enclosure 26, all of the folks that remonstrated, all those letters and emails and things are listed there are enclosed.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5228 on second and third.
Second that, Your Honor.
All right. We have a motion with a second to suspend and pass on second and third, ordinance number 5228. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5228 carries on second and third.
Okay. You are excused. You're welcome. All right, let's move back then to special presentations, as we got a couple tonight. The Tree Advisory Board is here to make a presentation. Carolyn, I would assume that's you.
That'd probably be a good idea to turn it on. Thank you. Well, the Tree Advisory Board for the last 2 years now has chosen a commercial or business to present a Greenleaf Award to. And this award basically is for outstanding landscaping that we feel really adds to the aesthetics of Norfolk. This year, the board, which consists of Corey Schmidt, Jesse White, Les Mann, and myself, we had several that we took into consideration, and the one we finally decided on was Sunset Plaza Mall. A few years ago, there was a study done on the importance of our entrances into the city of Norfolk, and this particular property has taken it upon themselves to make it important, and it certainly has looked wonderful. In the last 2 years especially, I've noticed it's just a wonderful entrance to our Norfolk and is viewed by many, many people. So with that, I will present this to Gary Sudbeck, who is the plaza manager, and to the one that, well, I hear Gary does a lot of the work too. But Mark Benedict, the maintenance manager, is here. Both of them are here tonight, and I'm just really pleased to be able to present this to you on behalf of the city and the tree board. Thank you so much for everything you do. And there is a plaque here that eventually be hung in the city offices someplace. It hasn't been there so far because of the move and everything, and their name has been added to that now too. So thank
Carolyn,
you.
appreciate that. And I can't argue with you. I get to go by there every single day on my way home, and it is beautiful, Gary. You guys have done a great job out there, so thanks. It's appreciated. Okay, and next, the Lower Elkhorn Natural Resource District is here with a presentation.
Not only a presentation. My name is Bob Huntley, and I'm on the board of directors of the Lower Elkhorn Natural Resource District. And on behalf of the board and staff, I'd like to congratulate you on the project of your tree planting out at Tawazuka Park. It's a great addition. That's a great park out there, and it just is really getting more beautiful every day. So on behalf of the board and the staff, I'd like to present you with a check for $1,657. That's you?
Yep, that's,
All
yep,
right.
yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You bet. And this can go up there.
And I thank them very much on our behalf for working with us on these grants. Last year, we did a project that they assisted us on, and this year we did too. It's really difficult this year to make things grow. And if you are familiar with Tahazuka at all, it's even more difficult because it is nothing but washed sand where we planted this year. Pat Mersney and his maintenance people are exceptional. You have no idea what you have there. When I deal with Pat, it's a very positive thing. So, thank you
Thank
again
you.
for...
Okay, Carolyn.
Carolyn, your small board, you can sure take it with you to show your board, but I think you're to be commended. There's a small group of you that are doing an awful lot of good things. On behalf of all of us here, thanks for all your efforts. Okay. Let's move on then to a public hearing. First is a public hearing for Mayor and City Council to sit as a Board of Equalization to levy special assessments. So, I guess I better read in the amount of $338.80 against property at 905 West Paswalk Avenue, and again in the amount of $535.59 against property at 812 South 11th Street for mowing, litter removal, and other maintenance charges. So first, if I could, I would ask for a motion to adjourn as the Norfolk City Council and reconvene as a Board of Equalization.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
And do I look to you, Beth, to
Yes.
give a little information on this?
These are two properties that were overgrown with weeds and litter. The property owners did not respond to the request from the city to do the maintenance work, and so city staff actually did it. This is the method by which the city can recoup costs. Once the resolutions are adopted, they are filed at the county, and interest accrues such as a special assessment, and it stays with the property. So we have had some of those paid when the property sells, so this is a good way to recoup the costs.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wants to come forward and speak to this issue? If not, seeing none, then I will close the hearing and ask for a motion then to again adjourn as the Board of Equalization and reconvene as Mayor and Council.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor. I'll second it.
All right, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
And with that then, can I ask for consideration of Resolution 2012-38 levying a special assessment in the amount of $338.80 against property located at 905 West Paswalk Avenue to mow and remove weeds and incidental litter?
Your Honor, I'd introduce Resolution 2012-38.
Second.
A motion with a second. Any discussion? If not, let's vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative. Motion carries.
Next would be consideration of Resolution number 2012-39 levying a special assessment in the amount of $535.59 against property located at 812 South 11th Street for mowing and other maintenance charges.
Your Honor, I would introduce Resolution 2012-39.
Second.
A motion with a second. Any discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative. Resolution 2012-39 is adopted.
All right, and then we'll look at consideration of ordinance number 5229, amending section 24-100 of the official city code to prohibit the operation of snowmobiles, mini bikes, golf carts, go-karts, scooters, etc. upon any publicly owned parking lot or other publicly owned property unless expressly authorized to do so.
Your Honor, I'd offer ordinance number 5229.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Chief Meisner here, or is this you, Clint?
I can do it.
All right.
Your Honor, members of the council, the Police Division's school resource officer requested this amendment to Section 24-100 to allow for dealing with certain students who apparently are intent upon riding mini bikes in the senior high school parking lot. The ordinance, the way that it is without this amendment, precludes the operation of those on streets, this would extend that to parking lots unless there's express authority granted to operate them there. I can answer any questions that you might have.
Would this include scooters that you see, like a handicapped individual is?
No. This really, Councilman, is aimed at the same kind of scooters that I think that Beth would say there's how many of them?
2.
They're the kind that the 2 of them that are registered in the city are prohibited. I think maybe there's not complete compliance with the registration requirement, but there's an exception both on the street and in the parking lot for those which are deemed or aimed at and being are designed for and being utilized by an individual that has some mobility issues.
I just want to have that clarified. Thank you.
Purely recreational.
These are scooters that, didn't we a few years back do something, we were letting them run on sidewalks or something like that?
They're exactly the same ones. They're the ones, and they're supposed to, they can't, the prior action the council took was to say it's illegal to operate them in the street. You can operate them on sidewalks so long as they have a manufacturer's design of less than 20 mile an hour and they're registered with the city. That's what Beth says. There's now presently 2 of them registered. So, but apparently, I know that in talking with Officer Lichtenberg, there's more than that he's identified at the high school. So what it's those same scooters though that would be prohibited if this were to be passed.
So then my only question is, they can't ride them in the parking lot, but they can ride them on the sidewalk, or do we get in trouble that way?
They're registered.
If they're registered.
If they're registered, they cannot be operated in the parking lot.
You could get an inundation of registrations coming in the next few days.
I think that Beth and her staff will be able to handle them.
The inundation, you mean?
The inundation,
Gotcha.
yes.
Or are these kids riding the scooters to school? Is that what they're riding them to school to get to school, and they're parking in the park, or they're messing around in the parking lot causing issues? Is that
The story that I was told was that the initial action came about with exhibition of acceleration, screeching tires with the motor vehicles, and so there was a reaction by Officer Lichtenberg to say that was not appropriate, and the next thing that was responded with that was out comes the scooters, which are then, as I was told, causing problems to the extent that they wanted to not only be able to prohibit them with school discipline, but also make it possible because of the inability to deal with them in the manner in which they wanted. They also wanted to be able to write a ticket.
You have the school board support on this. Is that right?
I don't know, but whether it's the school board or anybody else, if they want to have this tool, if this were passed, would be a tool, would not prohibit them from authorizing
Them to.
those to be there anyway. So if somebody doesn't want this to apply to them, they can easily grant exception. But again, the request came from Officer Lichtenberg.
Very good. Any other questions, discussion?
I don't want to harp on this, but I'm just wondering, okay, if a kid's riding a scooter to school and he parks in the parking lot, is he subject to a ticket? Because that might be their only means of transportation to the school. And I mean, it's just a question, I guess.
Good question.
No, I'm not trying to dig a ditch. Just asking the question.
If you don't, somebody else will, Shane. I appreciate it.
My understanding is that the scooters, I doubt that you would park one of these in a parking lot because it would be stolen, probably. And where the challenge that this is aimed at those which are the scooter is removed from the motor vehicle, either the back seat or the trunk or whatever, and it's then being operated. So I'm not aware of either of those two folks that have them registered riding them to school, if that's the...
Shane, if they are, they can ride it to school, but then walk it into the parking lot, and they're cool.
All right. Any other questions?
So did I hear this right? You can't screech a tire on a scooter?
I think screeching of the tires was with the pickups and the motor vehicles. I think this is I think it's response, counter response, and this is, I guess, the response to the counter response.
No, David, thank you.
Are we ready for a short title? No further discussion? Okay, short title, Beth.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 24-100 of the Official City Code to prohibit the operation of snowmobiles, mini bikes, golf carts, scooters, etc. upon any publicly owned parking lot or other publicly owned property unless expressly authorized to do so, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Okay, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5229 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5229 on second and third.
Second.
We have a motion with a second to pass on second and third, suspending the rules. So we'll pass on second and third reading, ordinance number 5229. Any further discussion? Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5229 carries on second and third.
And finally, under regular agenda is consideration of ordinance number 5230, authorizing the sale of abandoned Chicago and Northwestern Railroad right-of-way property and part of a vacated street located in the northwest corner of Georgia Avenue and Queen City Boulevard to St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church for $45,000, pursuant to the terms of a real estate purchase agreement between City and St. Paul's Lutheran Church.
Your Honor, I introduce ordinance 5230.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion with a second. Clint, you want to give a little information on this?
This is merely the procedure which needs to occur. I think that the related purchase agreement that was on the agenda here earlier calls for a closing on or before the end of the year. What will happen if this ordinance is passed is that we'll follow the statutes as far as the publication and the opportunity for remonstrance. So about 60 days out, we'll be ready to go forward and close it in the normal fashion. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Would you recommend that this be passed on all three readings tonight?
If we could. I thought you were going to ask if we could operate scooters on it.
Any other questions at all? If not, then short title, Beth.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to authorize the sale of city property, to provide the terms of said sale and authorize the mayor to execute and deliver a quitclaim deed to the property, to provide for a remonstrance to said sale as provided by law, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5230 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5230 on second and third.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules and pass on second and third. Any further discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5230 carries on second and third.
All right. And tonight is public comment period. So if there's anyone in the audience that wants to come forward and address this council, I invite you to do so. Please state your name for us.
Good evening. I'm Brad Hughes from WJAG Radio. Sign your little sheet here and then I'll tell you why I'm here.
You're surrounded by a pretty good support staff there too, Brad.
I grabbed a few. Well, many of you know I've come before this body on many occasions over the years, this being one of the more difficult reasons for me to do so. Being in the radio business, I'm rarely at a loss of words and try to keep the emotion out of it, and so I'll do my best to achieve that as well. But I come before you today to make you aware of something, and I wanted to publicly recognize a member of our staff and have it on the record with the city. And I wanted to publicly thank Mr. Jim Curry for his many years of service to WJAG. And why does that have anything to do with you and the city council? For many reasons, we're proud of Jim and here honoring him, but most specifically because of his continued support of the city council, and covering this particular body and its activities for nearly 33 years. And I venture to guess that in those 33 years of Jim Curry's coverage of city council proceedings, there is no match to that amount of time amongst other persons of the community, other media, public or elected, that have been to as many city council proceedings as has Jim Curry in those 33 years. The only exception might possibly be Jim Brenneman, who having served as police chief and city council and other capacities, might come close to Jim Curry's 33 years of service to community through WJAG and his coverage of city council. For those of you who are not aware, Mr. Curry tendered his resignation to WJAG a week ago today. In my 27 career with our company and the 4 years in which I've been in the leadership position, it was truly one of my most difficult days. But I wanted to, on the record in front of you, thank you for continuing allowing the media to be a part of your proceedings, specifically Jim and his dedicated 33 years of service to WJAG and the City of Norfolk and your proceedings. He leaves us on the best of terms possible. I shared with our staff a week ago when we met, and preceding that, 2 weeks ago, if you'd have told me I'd be discussing Jim Curry's departure from WJAG, I would have told you were absolutely insane. Just not something on my radar screen at all. But I told my staff a week ago that there is really, honestly and truly no more professional, exemplary employee that WJAG Incorporated in its 90 years has really ever had. And by that I mean Jim Curry, in my 27 years in association with him, has never created controversy. He's always been professional, fair, and unbiased, and an incredible member of our team that will be greatly missed. We're very proud of him and the position that he's taken at Northeast Community College as their new public relations director. And Jim will serve the college very, very well, as I made in my public statement about this on our airwaves. He will prove to be the same exceptional, loyal, and dedicated employee to Northeast Community College that he has been for WJAG. But I appreciate the opportunity to come before all of you. I hope that you will all personally take the time to acknowledge Jim's service to the city council, and covering fairly, professionally, and accurately all proceedings in those 33 years. We will miss him greatly, and I know you will as well. But tonight is his final official coverage of city council, and we felt it absolutely imperative that we come and share that with you. I thank you for the time, and I don't know if Sally or Susan want to add anything. Susan said she'll bawl if she does, but maybe she'd like to add something quickly. No? Sally? Okay.
Women, I've never seen you at a loss for words, either one of you. All right.
But thank you for allowing me to come and share that with you, and Jim is absolutely incredible, and yes, I'm still mad at you. Thank you.
Well done, Brad. Thanks very much for being here and sharing. Jim Curry, the best, and certainly I like where you're going. We will continue to work very closely with you and look to you to be the continued positive person that you are for this city. So thank you very much.
You too. Thanks. You're doing great work with all of you. Thanks, Chris.
Is there anyone else that has anything that they would like to speak to tonight? If not, before...
The only thing I want to mention is I visited with some neighbors today about that house up on Northdale. I talked with the city attorney and Shane tonight. They just wanted me to kind of update some of the people that we're waiting on some federal tax liens. And once we have that settled, that process with the city and that house will take place. So we're moving along, but we got one more hurdle.
Great. Appreciate that, Councilman. And I have one letter that has been requested that I read in tonight. So if I could, this letter is dated September 17, 2012 from Insurance Associates. Dear Mayor, I just want to clear the air regarding my statement at the September 4th City Council meeting and would ask that you read this letter into the record tonight. An insurance company, agent, or broker cannot offer a rebate or inducement to a policyholder to purchase insurance. That is outlined in Nebraska Statute 44-361, which I referenced. However, Nebraska Statute 44-4315 specifically provides that LARM is not an insurance company and that, quote, any agreement forming a risk management pool or providing group self-insurance coverage to its members shall not constitute insurance or the conduct on an insurance business, unquote. The discount plan offered by LARM is just that, a discount plan. As Eric Dunning, a staff attorney with the Nebraska Department of Insurance, has stated that although the department does not necessarily endorse such plans and it has no official policy about them, he confirmed that LARM's discount plan is not rebating and it is not illegal. By virtue of the statute and further interpretation by the Department of Insurance, my statement to the effect that by offering a lower premium for a longer-term commitment was an illegal rebate was incorrect and is hereby withdrawn. In closing, while I don't like the way the law is written, it's what governs how municipalities purchase their insurance. LARM won the bid utilizing the law to its advantage and did nothing illegal in doing so. I wish nothing but the very best for the City of Norfolk. Sincerely, Insurance Associates. Signed by Scott C. Williams, President. So, with that, again, anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. It's yours.